Chapter 7, Lesson 1. Main Ideas. Government. The Han Dynasty, China's strong central government, fell in AD 220. A period of conflict followed. Belief systems. China went through major changes in its belief systems. Government. In 589, the Sui Dynasty reunified China. In 618, the Tang Dynasty took over China. Reunifying China. Build on what you know. What words would you use to describe the country of China? Does your list include the words huge and powerful? In this chapter, you will learn that China was a huge and powerful country 1,500 years ago. Fall of the Han Dynasty. Essential question. What happened after the Han Dynasty fell in AD 220? The Han Dynasty, founded in 206 BC, was a period of progress and prosperity for China. In time, however, political struggles, social problems, and a widening gap between rich and poor weakened the Han Dynasty. It fell in AD 220. Conflict and chaos. A time of great disorder followed. Various kingdoms fought among themselves. Invading nomads from the north crossed the Mongolian plateau in the northern China. A nomad is a person who moves from place to place. Floods, droughts, and food shortages also plagued the land. Despite these troubles, Chinese culture survived. In the north, the invading nomads eventually settled down and adopted Chinese customs. In the south, good harvests and growing trade helped people to prosper. Even so, most Chinese people led difficult lives. Changes in belief systems. Essential question. What changes took place in China's belief systems? The turmoil after the fall of the Han Dynasty led to major changes in China's belief systems. Confucianism. For centuries, the Chinese had looked to Confucianism for comfort and guidance. Confucianism is a belief system based on the ideas of Confucius. He was a scholar who taught moral virtues and ethics, ideas of right and wrong. In his teachings, Confucius emphasized these principles. Use right relationships to produce social order. Respect family and older generations. Educate individuals and society. Act in morally correct ways. Confucianism influences Chinese life. Confucianism affected many aspects of Chinese government and society. For example, Confucius taught that people should advance in life through education. An emphasis on education helped to produce an efficient, well-trained set of government officials. Confucius's ideas also influenced society. He thought society should be organized around 5 basic relationships. A code of conduct governed these relationships. For example, one relationship was between ruler and subject. Confucius taught that the ruler should be virtuous and kind. The subject should be loyal and obey the law. Other relationships were based on the family. Confucius wanted children to have respect for their parents and older generations. Around AD 200, however, Confucianism began to lose its influence as the Han Dynasty lost power. The spread of Buddhism. As Confucianism lost influence, many Chinese turned to Buddhism. Buddhism is a religion that started in India and is based on the teaching of Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha was known as the Buddha, or Enlightened One. Buddhism teaches the following principles. Suffering is a part of life. The reason people suffer is that they are too attached to material possessions and selfish ideas. By living a wise, moral, and thoughtful way, people can eventually learn to escape suffering. During the 1st century AD, missionaries and traders carried Buddhist teachings to China, as the map above shows. Over time, the religion spread to Korea and Japan too. Buddhism became widely practiced after the Han Dynasty fell. Buddhist teachings helped people endure the suffering that followed the dynasty's collapse. Influences on Confucianism. Confucianism began to enjoy a rebirth in the 600s. However, gradual changes began to take place in Confucian thought. Buddhism and Taoism caused some of these changes. Taoism was a belief system that seeks harmony with nature and with inner feelings. Taoism began in China in the 500 BC. Since the Han Dynasty, Confucianism had mostly a set of social ethics and political principles. Later, during the Tang Dynasty, Confucian thinkers blended Buddhism and Taoism into Confucianism. As a result, Confucianism broadened its outlook. A change in Confucian thought. This new Confucianism was greatly concerned with human behavior and a person's relationship with the universe. It emphasized the following principles. Morality is the highest goal a person can reach. This morality can be achieved through education. Education can occur through books, observation, or interaction with wise people. The Sui and Tong Dynasties reunify China. Essential question. How did the Sui and Tang Dynasties reunify and strengthen China? After the fall of the Han, the Chinese people endured more than 350 years of chaos and conflict. Finally, the Sui Dynasty reunified China and brought order. Reunify means to bring a group together after it has been divided. The Sui Dynasty. Shuangzhang founded the Sui Dynasty. He was a general in the army of the Zhou, the rulers of the northern China. In 581, he took power by killing the heir to the Zhou throne, his grandson. He then massacred 59 royal princes. By 589, he had conquered the south and reunified China. He declared himself first emperor of the Sui Dynasty. Later, he became known as Wen Di. Wen Di reunifies China. During his rule, Wen Di did many things to make Chinese feel more unified. He restored old political traditions that reminded the Chinese of their glorious past. For example, on taking the throne, he accepted the traditional Chinese imperial gifts of red doors for his house and a robe with a red sash. Wen Di also reduced conflict by allowing people to follow their own belief systems. Although he was a Buddhist, he encouraged Taoist beliefs and practices. As you read earlier, Confucianism also enjoyed a rebirth during this time. For example, candidates for government jobs once again had to take a civil service examination. The examination carried out Confucius' belief that a government had to be built on the skill of its people. Wen Di also began public works projects. He rebuilt portions of the Great Wall, which you learned about on pages 206 to 207. He also started the building of the Grand Canal. It connected the Huanghe, or Yellow River, and Shuangzhang, the Yangtze River, linking northern and southern China. Thousands of peasants labored 5 years to dig the Grand Canal. Nearly half of them died during the project. Wen Di and his successor Yang Di raised taxes to pay for all these projects. In time, the Chinese people grew tired of high taxes and they revolted. As a result, the dynasty fell after only 37 years. The cycle of Chinese dynasties. Chinese dynasties rose and fell in a similar pattern. Historians call this pattern the dynastic cycle. 1. New dynasty is considered to have the mandate of heaven or the approval of heaven. 2. In time, the dynasty declines and becomes corrupt. Its power weakens. 3. Disasters such as floods, famines, and invasions occur. 4. Old dynasty is seen as having lost the mandate of heaven. 5. Dynasty is overthrown through rebellion. 6. New dynasty gains power and restores peace and order. The Tang Dynasty. Although the Sui Dynasty lasted only a short time, it set the foundation for the Tang Dynasty. The Tang Dynasty started in 618 and ruled for nearly 300 years. During this period, China expanded its borders on all sides. In addition, Tang emperors expanded the network of roads and canals to bring the country together. Such a large empire needed many officials to manage it, so the Tang emperors fully adopted the Confucian ideas of how government should be run. The Tang government system was one of the most advanced and complex in the world at the time. Tang emperors. Taizhang helped his father, Gaozu, to found the Tang Dynasty. Taizhang seized the throne in 626 after killing his 2 brothers and all 10 of his brothers' sons. Even though Taizhang used violence to rise to power, many Chinese considered him a fair and just leader. For example, he did not overburden peasants with high taxes. He also took some lands from the rich to give to peasants. In 690, Wu Zhao declared herself emperor. She was the only woman to occupy the throne of China. She proved to be a capable leader. One of her greatest achievements was a reconquest of Korea. China had ruled Korea earlier in the 660s and 670s. She did not leave power until 705, when she was more than 80 years old. Another great Tang emperor, Shuangzhang, came to power in 712. He ruled for more than 40 years. During his reign, Chinese literature and art reached great heights. The Tang period is best known for its masterful and lively poetry. Also, Tang sculptures of graceful horses were greatly desired trade items. In the next lesson, you will learn more about the development of the Chinese Empire. In addition, you will learn about agriculture, technological, and commercial developments in China. Lesson summary. Confucianism helped shape Chinese beliefs about social morals and political principles. Buddhism spread throughout East Asia because it helped people during difficult times. The Sui and Tang dynasties reunited China and brought a new sense of national identity. Why it matters now. In Asia today, about 10% of the population follows Confucianism and Buddhism.